Thank you to Bright Matter. That was the perfect song. And thank you to Reverend Victoria for settling us in meditation and in spirit. Long, long ago, in an old, beautiful forest, a tiny seed blew in on the wind. And the tiny seed landed on the soft forest floor, and it looked up in awe and amazement at the giant trees. And the seed said, I want to grow like that. I want to touch the skies. I want to see the blue skies, the clouds, feel the rain, feel the sun close to me. I want to grow like that. And the trees said, yeah, you can. It takes time, a very, very long time. And by the time you get this big, maybe our time will be over. But if you stay, you'll get there. And the seed said, nah, that sounds a little bit too long. I want to be up there now. And so the seed, rather than growing roots down deep, it spread out, and it became a vine that climbed around the tree. And it climbed, much faster than if it was growing on its own. And it started to choke the tree and steal the energy from that tree. And when it got up to the top, it spread out, and it spread out hundreds, thousands of little tendrils in every direction, wrapping around every little branch, choking off the tree, sending out its own leaves to steal that sunlight. And down on the ground, still, rather than growing roots deep, it continued to spread and shoot up more vines to wrap around more trees. And shot up smaller ones that formed thickets with thorns that said, don't come near me, leave me be. And we're going to come back to that vine in a little bit. But today I'm talking about giving up. Not something you usually say. And when I told my kids, I'm going to talk about giving up. And they said, don't you mean never giving up? Not giving up? No, I'm talking about giving up. And building on the last two talks, where Reverend Victoria last week spoke about the power of giving up physical things, physical clutter in our lives to make space for new things, I want to talk specifically about some of the beliefs that we have, or maybe just that I have, and maybe you have as well, but beliefs that are specifically tied to physical things. Because physical things can have a symbolic power and symbolic meaning to us. And we have to see that. We have to see that, and we have to ask, is this something that benefits me and helps me? Or is it something that's taking energy away from me? But if we don't see it, then we're not able to give it up. And if we don't understand the symbolic meaning of that thing, and we lose it, then it feels like a deep loss. And there's a fear there of, but I need this thing. And so we need to step and try to understand, what does that thing actually mean to us? So we often have ideas or ideals. Our soul yearns for something. Connectedness, community. I want to live a life that feels meaningful. I want to contribute to something. I want to wake up with a sense of purpose. I want to feel good about myself, and I want to feel connected to others. These are ideas. And oftentimes these take some physical form. The physical thing isn't necessarily what we want, but if we miss that in-between part, we might think that that's what we want. So I want to feel safe, and having a specific job is going to help me feel safe. And I want to feel emotionally secure, so I need this relationship to make me feel that way, so that somebody else makes me feel this way. I need more money. I need this, and we think about the things, and we may lose sight of what we actually want from within that. And we need to realize that no matter what the thing is, it does not actually contain the essence of what we want. So when those things and when times change and things come and go, there is fear, there is discomfort, but we need to step back and realize what it is we're truly seeking from them, so that we're more able to let go of the things, whether we let them go or they change on their own. So for me, there's a lot of symbolic power of the physical world and physical things that I've learned about my sense of self, about what it means to have accomplishment. And I've realized a lot of these don't necessarily come from the natural order. They don't come from within me. They come from things that I've been taught without even knowing that I'm taught them. Things that I see, things that are fed to me since I was a little kid. Things that come from that great religion that fills the whole earth, the religion that we know as the economy. And maybe it's just me, but I've felt a lot of pressure becoming an adult about what I have, what I can attain, what accomplishments I can get, how I can provide for children, or rather how I struggle to do that sometimes. And an example I'm going to share is about owning a house. And I say owning a house because I think that all of us own a home, because a home is where we are, and a home is what we make. And if we don't own the walls and the roof and a plot of land that a government has mapped out and said is ours, that's okay. I say I'm still a homeowner, and maybe that's just me trying to reclaim some of that sense of self, but there's power in words. So when it comes to struggles of owning a house, which is not getting any easier, I found that I feel like I've done a lot of the right things. And as I've talked to more people, I get the sense that a lot of people are saying, but I've done all the right things. And I've shared this before with you that growing up in a specific church, I also felt like I did all the right things. I was a good kid, I was obedient, I did what I was asked, and a lot of the things that you say, you do this, and you get it, and over time, I would get frustrated and say, well, I'm doing that, and I'm not getting it. Well, maybe you need to do it more. Okay, so I'll do it more. Maybe you need to do it with more faith. Maybe you need to do it with more energy. Maybe you just need to believe more. And after enough time, I thought, you know what? I really don't think that some of these problems are with me. There are some, but not all of them. But when I believe that they are, then I carry that weight. So when we have this obedience mentality, we don't get what we thought we were going to get. There's often this question of, what am I doing wrong? Also with the talk series, there's the example of a garden hose, right? When you have you just have to pinch it a little bit and it'll stop all the water from flowing. So we can find ways to take those blockages out of ourselves. But what I've also found in my life, so if we have our water hose hooked up to the infinite source of consciousness, of spirit, that hooked up to the source of God or whatever we call it, that flows freely and abundantly. And what I found is sometimes I have that the water hose is hooked up to the wrong spigot, okay? I want a life that feels meaningful, and it's hooked up over here, and that's just not flowing very well. And I think, well, I've cleared out all the blockages, but it's still not flowing, and I have my sense of self and meaning and accomplishment, and I think if I do this, and if I get this, and if I earn this, then it'll all start flowing, and it's not. And that's not always because of a blockage of myself, but it's because I need to unhook it, and I need to hook it up to the true source. So when something we're trying, and again, as I talk to my kids about, just give up, right? Just give up sometimes. There's value in hard work. There's value in dedication. There's value in discipline. But there's also value in reflecting after a good enough period of time to say, okay, I've been doing all of this. Is it actually working? And when it's not working, what I'm searching for is not there. That's when I'm willing to say, I'm going to give it up. It's not a loss. I didn't lose anything. I didn't fail at anything. I've realized that I'm looking for something in the wrong place that's not there. So one example that I have of this, when I was going through this frustration about, again, something so unnatural as money has put a lot of pressure on me. And when I was in this, right before all the housing prices went crazy, I thought, why can't we figure something out and get something? And I really just want to be able to have a house. And it just wasn't possible. And I was during the COVID time when you're inside all the time and my kids are home and I'm teaching them school on their computers all the time, and I was just felt so pent up and frustrated. And I thought, I'm going to find a way to symbolically reclaim a little bit of what I want, because what I want isn't necessarily going to be given to me by a thing, but I thought I'm going to, again, thinking now about physical things and the symbolic power that they have, and I'm going to intentionally create a physical space that I can call mine, because something that I really wanted was, I wanted a space that I could feel comfortable, that I could gather with my family, that I could gather with my friends, that I could say, yes, now I can have this, and I don't necessarily need to have a piece of paper. It doesn't need to be very big, but I'm going to work with what I have, and I'm going to try to make something. So we lived in a townhouse at the time with a little bit of space out back, and this is actually where I learned about how some of these invasive vines work, because there was plenty of space going up a hill, but it was all covered with thorns, and I thought, maybe we could do something with that. And I started clearing it out, and I paid attention over time as it would rain and water would wash through, and I thought, okay, this is where the water's going to come, so I would build a little drainage thing and make that and keep watching over like a few months to really pay attention. And I built just a little outdoor seating area, and I have a picture of it up here that can come up. And this, so right there, I built this, put in the rocks and everything, and it was meaningful to me because it said, now I can do something. I can make this, that it's not that I necessarily love that, but I love what this allows, and I love that I can do something even when it's limited and I don't have everything that I thought I wanted. So we had that, and it was fun. We had a lot of good times. And when we moved away from there, I thought, man, I put so much time into this. And my kids were like, well, what are we going to do? You can't move that with you. I hope the next people who live there are going to use it. And I actually thought, you know what? The sort of melodramatic self was like, oh, what a waste, what a shame. What if they don't appreciate it? What if they don't use it? Oh, that'll be such a waste. I thought, no, actually, it has served its purpose for me. I enjoyed it. It served its purpose. And I don't really care if the next person does or not, because it wasn't about the thing. It was about the feeling that I was searching for and that I was able to create. And we went back, and now it's just a dump area where they throw all their old stuff. But it doesn't bother me because I was willing to give it up. Another thing that I want to share, talking about, again, symbolism of a thing. I'm a sentimental person, and I used to save all my stuff. I would save every birthday card I got, little notes that I got, all this stuff, and I think, one day I'll read it all, which I never have. And I'm sure some of it's still in my mom's basement. But as a sentimental person, I thought, I want to preserve memories for my kids, as many parents do. You do picture books, you write down little memories. So at one point when I had one kid, I made a little journal like this. This is not the one, but I made it, and I would write little things, and I thought, this is going to be great, This is going to convey my love. This is going to hopefully give positivity, affirmation, help my child feel really good. I don't know when I'll give this to her, but at some point I'll give her this, and she'll be able to look back. Some of it's memories, some of it's just little notes, and say, yes, there you go. I'm giving you this love, this positivity. And then when we had a second kid, I was like, okay, 2 journals, okay, all right, here we go. And then the third kid, I was like, there's no way I can do this. There's too much. So what I did is I started to kind of just do it digitally, because that was much easier to be like, oh, that was really funny what she said and what they did. I'm just going to write it there. Maybe one day I'll put it in book form or print it out or something. But I was just storing this up, and it was just tons and tons of things, and it was 5 years or something. And I would look back and laugh at things and tell the kids stories. And then it was digital. And you think digital's easy, digital's safe, and it's not always safe. And I lost it. And I was devastated. And I thought, oh my gosh, right? And still, even now, sometimes it just squeezes my heart a little bit. I'm like, oh, I can't believe I lost that. And as I was just couldn't believe, how did this happen? I should have saved it in 3 different places and made sure of all this. But I lost it, and I thought, I was, again, devastated. And something suddenly just kind of like shook me just a little bit and said, you're still alive. And so are your kids. And you still have life. And so do they. And you still have time. And I thought, oh, but I don't know, maybe I'll just like be really, really sad for like a couple weeks or something. And I felt very strongly though, no, like, what did this symbolize? This symbolized love to me. This symbolized me giving them something. This symbolized affirmation and positivity, the things that I wanted to instill in them, and it was gone. And when I think that all of that stuff that I thought this contained was gone, that's what's devastating. But again, I realized there are way bigger tragedies in life than this. I still have time. And so rather than, and I started another, and I keep some notes every once in a while, but I'm not as attached to it, and I had to let go of it. I had to let go of it because it was gone, and there was no recovering it. And I realized whatever I wanted from that, I have to be that. That's something that I have to be. It's not something that I'm storing up here and I'm going to give 16 years later or whenever, at whatever age. It's something that I have to be. And that's how I'm going to give that to them. Day by day, week by week is something that I want to give. So, letting go, sometimes not by choice, but to really see what something means to me helped me to be able to move on from that. So, seeing the symbolic meaning of our things can help us let them go. And questioning the symbolic meaning of things and what things we want to agree with. We might say, because there's also a lot of power in giving symbolic meaning to a thing and saying, I'm going to use this to remember something. I'm going to use this to remind me something that can help me, as long as I don't become too attached to the thing and I remember the connection that is there. Another thing that I've found is difficult, and I know some of you have more years and more wisdom on your journeys than I do, but something that I've been finding recently is that there's an in-between time as you're changing where you're willing to give something up, you're willing to let it go, and then you think, well, now something new is going to come along, right? Now I'm going to get something new. I'm opening myself for this newness and this new space. But in between, there's nothing. And I'm afraid of nothing. Because I'm not used to having nothing. And I want this back. Because I have something, and I'm more comfortable having something. But there's this in-between space. It's like we have a cute little caterpillar that's eating all the leaves and gets big and fat and puts itself in a cocoon, and we know soon it's going to emerge as a beautiful butterfly in vibrant colors and float on the wind. But for a while, it's just this thing of goo, right? It's nothing. It's not a caterpillar anymore. It's not a butterfly, but it's something in between. And this is something that I feel is very hard to sit with, is that, okay, all right, so something's coming. I'm not that anymore. And I don't really want to go back to that. And I kind of can envision where I'm going, but I'm not totally sure. I don't want to like overcommit to one thing and then force that to try to happen. But it's difficult. But I will say as well, as I move along, it is worth it to let go of things when deep down you know it's time to let go. So I want to bring up another picture, going back to the story of the vine that could have been a tree, but would rather grow faster, get to the top, and take the life out of the things around it. You might not see it very well because it's all brown there. That when I was clearing out this backspace, I was cutting out vines and a lot of thorns and everything, and I saw this vine going up a tree and spreading out everywhere. And what I did is I had to trace it to the source where it actually did go into the ground. And it was big. It was like almost like a small tree. It was such a thick thing. And so then I had to use a saw and cut that, and I started pulling and pulling. And some would come loose, And then eventually I didn't have the strength, and I was pulling, and I would see like huge parts of the tree moving. And that's how I knew how very deeply connected this was to the tree. And even if I had enough strength, if I would have ripped fully, it would have actually ripped parts of the living tree down because it was so connected. So I took down what I could. And this stretch right here, it went about like 50 feet or so in length. It could wrap all around here, and it had hundreds and hundreds of little pieces going off. Everybody here could touch it. And that's when I realized, wow, this is really, really invasive, right? It spreads out everywhere it can, and it wraps itself around the tree. And I realized that that is sometimes how my beliefs feel to myself. That I, like that vine, I've had little beliefs planted in my heart that tell me that I should seek the easiest, most comfortable life possible. Don't set down the roots. That takes a long time. Don't be steady. Just shoot right up there, see the sun, bask in the glory, and whatever you have to do to get there, that's fine. Spread out and take everything that you can get. And I've had things like that in my heart. And I also feel like I can take them out, right? Like, I'm going to stop believing in this. I'm not going to feed it anymore. I'm going to cut the root there. Now it's not getting any water. And really, the vine will die. It's not getting any more food. And after a couple years, I'll come across a situation, I'll feel really uncomfortable about something, and I realize, man, I've actually still been feeding that belief somehow because I didn't realize it, but I still believe in something tied to these physical things, something tied to these ideas that has a place in my heart. And I go, okay, I'm going to try to cut that again. And then after I cut that down and ripped it, there was another spring and a summer and a fall and a spring and a summer and a fall. And it was like something like 2.5 years later. And I went out back one day, and there were just a whole bunch of this vine that had fallen because it was dead. When you cut it, it dies. But it's still connected there. And it took over 2 years to actually dry out enough that the tree could shake it off and it would actually fall. So 2.5 years later, after it's completely dead, and I also feel like that with myself sometimes, where I find things like, how are you still in my mind? How is this still here? But I know that it's not me. It's me letting go of an idea, and that these things stick with us. They run deep and they stick with us. So we have, as with the talks for this next talk series, we have a little sheet of paper to help you reflect on some of these ideas. Do we have that somewhere? Mary's going to go get that. So we have a little sheet that's going to ask some questions. And if you have thoughts about it and you'd like to share them with me afterward, I'd love to hear your thoughts as well, as I'm also on this journey. But it's asking questions about, is there something in your life that you lately have felt like, I really, really want this. I really, really want this thing. I want this job. I want a car. I want a thing. I want to accomplish something. I want people to respect me for this, or whatever it is. Is there something that you've wanted? And then challenge yourself to really sit with that for a while and think, what is it that I think that this contains? That's why I want it. What will that give me? If I really got that right now, what would it give me? A sense of fulfillment, a sense of safety, a sense of connection. And that's what I'm not feeling. I'm feeling like I'm missing that safety. I'm missing the connection. I'm missing something, and that's why I'm trying to get something to fill it. So sit with it for a time and keep asking yourself that question. What is it that I want from this that I feel like I'm missing? And then ask yourself the question, what power does that have over me? And ask, am I looking in the right place? And again, the garden hose idea here. Am I waiting for something to come for me? Am I expecting work or my belief system or some other identity that I have? Am I expecting that to give me what I'm wanting? Or do I need to look more to the divine source? And that divine source is actually us. We have that connection. I don't need to go out searching for something to find, okay, no, it's not that one, it's not, I've tried that. I'm finding the next one, and I'm going to put my time and energy in. We are the source, and we can be connected to the source. So as we strengthen our own connection to that, we can more freely flow throughout the things that happen, the change that's happened, that are out of our control, but we're still connected because we're not depending on any outside source. So, that's all I got for you today. Thanks for listening. Namaste.
Hi, it's Reverend Victoria here. I'm at Unity Center of Peace with our house band, Bright Matter.
Hello.
Yeah, and if this video has inspired you or empowered you or opened your heart, opened your consciousness, or even just given you hope, we ask that you support what we're doing here by making a donation today, going to unitychapelhill.org or clicking the link below. And we thank you.
Thank
Thank you.